Hello everybody, and welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons, the Second Age. How are we all doing?
Hello.
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 It's a good day
Excellent.
in Russia.
In Soviet Russia, D&D plays you.
Can anybody remember what happened in our previous session? Downtime, yes.
Also, Kelariis got buffed, and I'm scared.
Kelariis got even more buffs.
Because everything sort of came together in the same session, and now we went from having one powerful artifact, which was kind of cursed and a little bit shit, to two really good artifacts.
Yes.
Also,
we
have
finally
defeated your
defeated the
freedom.
demon.
Yeah.
Freedom!
Freedom!
Well, technically you have 1.5 legendary artifacts at the moment. Because you have the Baton of Retribution, which is a legendary artifact, and then you have Freedom, which is one half of Freedom's Tongue, a legendary sword.
Oh, right. I guess that's true. Wait,
can't-
is
we can't-
Kelariis eventually going
Better
to
than
do
sort of
wield?
revenge.
We can't scream freedom
Oh my
yet,
God,
'cause
what?
it doesn't have a tongue, so can't
Is
make noise.
Kelariis eventually going to dual wield Freedom's tongue and whatever the fuck the other sword is? Oh no, wait.
The
that's
spear,
Oh,
Crolestro.
The spear,
Oh god,
yeah.
yeah, the spear.
The spear is a throwing spear, so it would be
Oh.
thrown and then you would draw the sword.
Damn.
Oh, alright, go full
Then you have to
Roman.
pick it up again.
No,
It's like a magical sword that it's like a boomerang.
Oh, no, hang on. You're getting spoiler territory now.
I know.
let's just say Crolestro has a special ability, but I won't tell you what it
It's
is
a
yet.
boomerang.
Copied your favorite thing about, like... Have you just copied your favorite thing about the fucking
It's a holy boomerang.
magical fighter? You can just make it materialize in your hand again. Is that what you've done?
I didn't invent the powers for Calestro. Somebody else has already done that. I created Freedom's Tongue. I created Freedom, and I created the Baton of Retribution. But most of the abilities of Freedom's Tongue and Crolestro are taken from actual canon. So,
Oh.
Huh.
but yes. So, and I believe the very last thing that you did. Oh, the other thing you did is you received some letters, which were very important because they told you some things that you didn't yet know. And
And we fought a troll.
yes, the last thing you did is you battled a troll in order to attempt to continue to make a potion, which nobody has ever attempted before, and you are going to try despite having no idea of how it's made.
Exactly.
But
Hey.
You can do it.
My favorite part about that is probably that the
Oh.
apothecary was just like, no one has ever tried this, by the way. We need some troll's blood, and he's just like, you know what? Sure, we'll go fight a troll. And he's like, you're just gonna go out there and fight a troll. And she's like, yep, I'll just ask my friend Arya.
And then we did it.
Also, I love how
That's
science
great.
this is as well. It's actually like, we theorized that we could possibly do this if we had these things, so let's just fucking try it and see what happens.
well, they are following an ancient recipe, so it's not that much science.
So it's Renaissance science.
Kind of. Anyway, yeah. The last thing you did is you battled a troll. Have you come up with a name for your apothecary friend
No.
yet? No. Never mind. It's not.
I did actually. It's
Oh,
ha-ha-has.
Oh wow.
What else?
What else?
he is unfortunately a human. But
Oh,
Oh, dang.
actually no. I said he could be whatever you wanted,
Yeah.
didn't I?
Yeah, Rob.
yeah, he's a wood elf.
It is likely that he is a human, but yes. Yeah. So the last thing you did, fighting the troll, then you came back to town, and I need you all to do well. I need whoever is holding it for the week to check for the any Wraith Shard side effects as our first roll of the day.
Well, Arya did it last week, so
Shall I take it this week?
If you want to change it up.
I'll take
I'd-
it.
Sure, okay.
Wisdom save, yeah?
Wisdom saves.
That would be a wisdom save, yes.
oh,
Hooray! Hooray for proficiencies!
Jesus.
That's a +6, boys.
Okay, so once again, thanks to you're becoming relatively experienced with handling this thing, and you're sort of beginning to understand how to avoid the ill effects of this thing. You don't carry it quite so close to you, and you take precautions before you go to sleep every night, and you are sort of beginning to gain a degree of mastery over over how to control the side effects of this magical artifact. And with that, we begin once again our 3rd week of downtime. Vondal, during this time, I need you to make me a relevant tools check for your armorsmith.
Hey, that's more like it.
Excellent. Okay. And what are the rest of you doing?
I'm continuing on my pushing because it's the last week, right? That I need to work on this.
Yes. Yeah, because you spent the first week gathering the components and doing the research. The second week, you began making the base and collecting the troll's blood, and the third week is the creation of the final art object.
Yep.
So yes, I need you to make a relevant tools check with advantage because of your friend.
Oh, oops. I didn't. Yeah.
We'll take the first one.
Damn it. Fine, still a 17.
Yes. Okie dokie. Does anybody else know what they want to do, or whilst you decide, shall we dictate what happens to the others?
I mean, I was just gonna go hunt again.
You're gonna go hunt again. Okay, then
Hunt.
give me a relevant skills check with a bonus to your proficiency. I've actually changed my mind as to what this will give you, because essentially I'm gonna get you to make a relevant skills check, which is your survival check, but it will count as you having expertise rather than proficiency.
Okay.
So basically what that does is that doubles your proficiency modifier, so instead of just giving you +2, it'll give you I think it's +3 is your current proficiency modifier.
Yeah.
So yes, make me a
Oh fuck.
thing with your expertise. So that's a 10.
Shit. That's shit.
Kelariis, do you have any idea what you want to do?
Yeah, I'd like to go and help out at the glassworking shop again. Just
Cool.
for another week.
Yeah, make me a relevant tools check.
You got it. Well, shit.
Okay.
High five, Arya.
Yeah, 7. Woo!
So,
Lucky 7.
Kelariis, I need you to roll me a 1d6. As Arya, you spend the week again hunting, and you manage. Once again, you don't work too hard, and you pay for yourself, basically.
Mm.
So you cover your accommodation and lifestyle costs for the week, and everybody who is not directly working needs to spend, I believe it was 7 gold for a modest lifestyle.
Yep.
Kelariis. Okay. Basically, the majority of your work week is taken up with fulfilling a particular order for one of the more upper class houses in Roxgate. You spend a good portion of your time making these glass trinkets, basically to adorn a table spread. And when it comes down to it at the end of the week, it's taken all of you quite a long time to make this. So actually, there's not a huge amount of profit in this job in general, and basically you end up basically earning a poor lifestyle for the week. So that is essentially 1/2 of what you need to pay for your lifestyle.
Okay.
So I need you to deduct 3.5 gold.
Whoops, something went wrong there. I will take care of that.
As for the others, Vondal, you spend the work week continuing to work on your chainmail armor. And now that you've got all your gear and you've got your setup, and you're really sort of getting into the groove of working, you actually sort of pick up the pace of how efficiently you're working, and you basically make good headway to the point where you've got basically the front half of the chainmail shirt complete. In conjunction with your companion, you work on your potion, and I need to look at something very quickly. Can you also roll me 1d20?
Alright.
Okay.
Nice.
So yeah, effectively once when you work through this, you spend the first part of the week sort of brewing and distilling and working with this troll's blood that you've obtained, and it's quite a tricky material to work with. But your companion finds an innovative solution for basically stopping it becoming tacky and useless. In that, effectively, he takes what would normally be like a sort of like a filter tube to move liquids from one vial to another, and instead he sort of wraps it around the containers that you've got this blood in, and runs basically warm water through these tubes, and it keeps it warm and it keeps it sort of from going tacky. And effectively, once you're done with it, you are now in possession of an elixir of health with no negative effects.
Yeah. Nice.
So I need to just check if that is in the SRD real quick. No, it's not. I will get you a card for that during the break. But basically, yes, you are now in possession of an elixir of health, which is capable of curing poisons and diseases and any permanent stat reductions. Obviously, that won't affect things like if you are blinded or lose limbs from physical defects. But it will do anything from magically induced permanent debuffs.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, and with that, the end of the third week comes to a close, and I need to roll some dice.
Yay, dice roll.
Okay. Everybody give me charisma checks.
Here we go.
Everybody.
Give me charisma checks, yes.
Nice.
Boy.
Sweet.
Oh my gosh!
Okay.
What the fuck is this?
Boom, son.
I'm so charismatic all of a sudden.
Yeah, okay, so effectively what happens is one evening whilst you are all in the tavern, I can take you to the tavern very briefly, One evening, whilst you are all in the tavern, a strange-looking, well, perhaps not strange-looking to some of you, but those of you who are sort of experienced with, I guess it would be called, in this world it would be Western dress, but in our world it would be sort of Middle Eastern dress. A man with dark skin and dressed in Middle Eastern dress arrives in the tavern one evening, orders a large number of drinks, and sits in a corner with a woman who is basically wearing what armor is she wearing? She's wearing studded leather armor and has basically like a long traveling hood and cloak. And this gentleman causes, like, he gathers quite a lot of interest from the patrons because he's quite clearly not a local, and he's got an interesting traveling companion who isn't entirely unattractive, and they attract sort of like a lot of curiosity from the rest of the people at the bar. As the evening sort of wears on and you guys are considering retiring for the evening, V and Arya, you happen to pass by the table where this gentleman and his companion are sitting, and they engage you in conversation. And you discover... Where is my notes? You basically discover that they are travelers in search of... they're basically in search of a... is this the right document? They are in search of a... No, that's not the right document. God damn it. Basically, it is a old ruined city which I don't have the name for, which I will very quickly get the name for. Where is it gone? They are searching for the ruins of a human settlement called Greysurge. And they basically you get engaged in conversation with them, and they are basically I hesitate to call them archaeologists, but I also hesitate to call them treasure hunters. They are somewhere in the grey area between them. And basically they get talking to you and ask you if you have ever heard of somebody who's referred to in mythology as the Duchess, which I believe neither of you have ever heard of. So give me a history check. The DC for this is going to be quite high because it is sort of it's ancient mythology.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
Arya,
fuck you.
being from Eladrin history, you've heard a lot of material plane history and mythos in your education. And you know that you know that the Duchess, or Duchess Greysurge, as she is actually known as, was basically a powerful, not quite sorceress, not quite wizard. She wielded arcane powers of various sources, and was apparently great force in the human kingdoms to the north during the closing years of the First Age, to the point where there's mythology that sort of tells that she's in fights alongside like the first Dragonborn and things like that. But yes, Duchess Greyeve is basically a powerful magician, and they effectively tell you that they are looking for. They believe that in Greyeve is a tower which the Duchess once was resident in, and supposedly they have rumours that effectively the tower contains like a bunch of magical artifacts that are listed in mythology but are never recovered, and they are on a quest to locate them. Give me insight checks as this conversation sort of rolls on for a little bit.
Aw, man.
Okay. Basically, the man seems to do a lot of the talking, but his female companion in the studded leather armor and hood doesn't seem to sort of contribute quite so much to the conversation. And you also notice that whilst he is drinking, like he's ordered like a large number of drinks, and he is drinking all of the drinks, but she is drinking none of them. And you don't really know, but you get the feeling that she is sort of his, as much his bodyguard and his accompaniment as she is a member of his treasure hunting crew. But other than that, unless you guys have anything sort of you want to ask him about, you just sort of while away a few hours talking to this peculiar Western gentleman.
I don't know. I don't think
Yeah,
I
I
have
don't
anything
really
to say.
say.
No, okay.
Like, as cool as treasure hunts sound, kind of have more important shit.
Well,
Have you tried saving the world?
the point I'm sort of trying to push across here is this is a guy who seems like he knows a little bit about history and mythology. So if you have any sort of history and mythology questions that you think he might be able to answer.
Do we know where Kelariis' spear is? Do we sort of know the...
You know where it's said to be resting, yes. And that is...
I call it Kelariis' spear as if she's already the owner.
The spear Kelariis is looking for, yes.
Technically, it's Tretharian's spear.
Also true.
That is not the right... oh yes, the you know the spear last rested in Mardan, and it was in the hands of Jasmal Pashar, who was a servant of Tretharion. I mean, Kelariis knows like vaguely more about it, so you could very easily sort of call Kelariis over and get Kelariis to talk about it if Kelariis wants to. Up to you guys.
I don't know, do you want to? Might be helpful. I mean, do we have any leads at all as to where it might be?
I mean, I know
that
that the place is down south, I think is what I wrote down.
Yes, it is. It's a long way south because you have to go past the hilly lands that you're in currently until you basically get into the more arid parts of the south. And according to what you could find, basically Mardan exists basically on the edges of a desert by nestling in basically what is like a small, not quite river. Yeah, I suppose you would call it a river valley, because as naturally in places where it is hot and desert, large towns tend to spring up along the fertile grounds of river. So yeah, it's sort of like Egyptian cities in our world. It's sort of built nestling in the curve of a river valley as it approaches the ocean. So you'd have to go quite a long way south to get to it. But you don't know exactly where it is, and you also don't know much more other than the mythology that she once possessed the spear. She apparently overthrew a tyrant with it, and she was buried with it after basically saying they offered her a position as a leader. She turned it down, and she basically lives as a hermit in the desert and then is buried in a grand vault under the city, apparently. But that's all you know.
Well, I don't know. If people want to ask, then
Yeah, like if you have nothing to ask, then that's fine. We can move on. But this is an opportunity to potentially explore more history if you are interested.
I don't know if we have anything specific that we want to ask aside
No,
from.
that's fine. If you haven't got anything, then you haven't got anything.
Alright.
Cool. Well, you spend time talking to this peculiar man as he consumes his many drinks. He does seem to get sort of rather tipsy by the end of the evening, and his companion sort of seems to sink sort of like slightly lower and lower into her seat until the point where she sort of stands up and proclaims that she is going to bed, and he says, "Oh, yes, I should probably go as well." Yes, and you guys realise that yes, it is getting quite late. It is probably like 11:30. You should probably go to bed.
Bedtime.
Betty, sleep time.
Cool.
Sleepy buys.
Sleep time.
Yeah, you go to sleep. Yeah, and with that, your third week comes to a close, and I need a Wraith Shard check from whoever is going to hold it.
I will take it.
Though I do not know the way.
Wow. I mean, at least I got the reference that time.
I didn't.
Lord of the Rings.
I will take the ring to Mordor, though I do not know the way. Cool.
Said Frodo the Hobbit.
Yes. As Vondal sort of gives you a couple of pointers on the things that he's learned from sleeping with the Wraith Shard. Sort of clearing your
Sleeping
up,
with the
Luka.
Wraith Shard, I see.
Shut up.
clearing your mind before you go to sleep, etc. Several meditation techniques, and with that, sort of you manage to spend the whole week sort of without any negative experience. And with that, we begin the fourth week. What is everybody doing?
Get your mind out the gut, Luka.
I'm sorry, what?
Mind out the gutter.
Mind out of the gutter, yes.
No.
Vondal, I need you to make me another relevant tools check.
Oh!
Nice.
Nice. Okay. What is everybody else doing?
Going to hunt in the woods.
Okay. Make me
Again.
survival check with expertise.
Maybe it won't be shit this time. Oh, shit!
Nice. That is very good.
Boy.
Boys! I'm bringing home the literal bacon tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, wild boar.
Wild boar.
Yum.
Cool.
Nice and gamey.
Does sound quite dull though.
Mm.
One
Thank-
might say it was.
Get
boring.
out.
Fuck you.
Cool.
God.
Anybody else?
Bad.
I guess I'm just gonna stick with the apothecary. Because I'm
Cool.
kind of done with my potion, but I don't know if there's anything else I really want to do. I don't really want to make healing potions because I use up all of my herbs.
Yeah, you used all the things that would reduce your costs. Although to make a potion of healing, it literally only takes you a day and basically 25 gold's worth of materials.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's just I don't know if we need healing potions. I feel like
We have healing potions and we don't use them, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Now we've got enough. So.
It's because I'm on point, guys.
You can certainly help your new friend out by helping him with his work.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Cool. Give me either a relevant tools check or it's probably just a relevant tools check. Cool. And that just leaves Kelariis.
I think I'll probably stick with the same thing for one more week.
Yep.
Because we have 5 weeks total.
Yeah, you have one more week after this, essentially.
Yeah, okay. Because I want to go back to help the temple, but I want to help with the glass blowers too because
Yeah. Cool. Give me a relevant tools check.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Nice. Okay, so V, you're kind of overwhelmed by the level of work that this guy actually does when he's not helping you.
Yeah.
He
A job? What is having a job?
Yeah, this is basically like your first job, and you're busting all over the place. But within a couple of days, you've really sort of got it down to the point where you're actually getting quite good at it. Like, people come in people come in for things like poultices and all that, from like the simple stuff up to like actual medications, which you can't really like make the medications yourself because you don't have the skill, but you can mix components for it. But it gets to the point where sort of your newfound friend will he'll ask you for something and he doesn't have to tell you how to make it anymore or what's in it, and you can sort of go away and do it and come back with it quite quickly. And yeah, you essentially pay for your lifestyle for the week.
Yay.
Kelariis, you after working with these guys for a while, you're really sort of getting into the swing of working with them. And after the shenanigans that was sort of making the table settings for this gathering and actually not making like that much profit out of it, you basically go off with I believe his name is Nelmar. Yes, you go off with Nelmar, and actually you end up helping him to size up basically a job to do, basically to replace a large series of large windows in one of the shop fronts in the town. And yeah, effectively you spend the week mass producing sheet glass for this shop, and by the end of the week, like it gets to maybe about like 2/3 of the way through the week, and you realize that like the way you've been working, like you guys are basically done with the order, and you decide to sort of like go back to sort of making baubles for a bit and turn a little bit of extra profit. And yeah, you manage to you can have a comfortable lifestyle for the week plus 25 gold, or you can continue with your modest lifestyle and I believe it is gain another 7 gold.
I mean, I'll stick with modest. I'll take the extra money.
Okay, so that is 25 plus 7, so 33.
Math.
Again, Arya, with your you go out and you manage to you roam quite far to the point where you don't actually come back for a couple of days, and sort of
Bye,
Pe-
guys.
people are sort of like, I haven't seen Arya for a few days. I hope she's okay.
Oh, she's
And
fine.
you, in fact, you probably took your horse to do this. But you basically come back with your horse laden down with basically like rabbits and things, and the large and very portly carcass of a wild boar.
Yeah. Bringing home
I'm
the
glad
bacon.
that the wild boar was actually a thing.
Gonna have
Yes.
some crackling, boys.
So yes, you can continue your modest lifestyle and take 33 gold, or you can live it up for a week and get 25.
I don't think Arya has ever lived it up in her life, so I'm just gonna stay with the modest lifestyle.
Okay.
Let's get fucking trashed.
Well, it's not just getting trashed. It's like you eat out. You like, you live a little bit more extravagantly.
Extravagantly.
Yes.
You trying to combine extravaganza and extravagant?
No. Yeah. Okay. So that's that. Vondal, you once again, combined with the progress you made previously, you managed to finish off the chess piece in almost no time at all, and actually you complete work on the rest of the pieces in record time, to the point where actually you're pretty much finished by the end of this week. But you reckon you've got enough time, and you actually start putting like little embellishments on sort of the edges of it, because rather than just having a plain little shirt, like you sort of you've got some bits sort of left over from your old armor that you salvaged to repair it, or to use to create the undercoat and things that are already fitted, and you basically begin to like you take like you've got like a golden white threading that sort of like goes around the cuffs of the old armor, and you start very delicately taking that apart and applying it to the mithril armor.
Sweet.
I can tell you that if you roll another critical success on your final check, you will effectively make it fine armor, which doesn't actually do anything except ups the gold value of it if you sell it, but
But
it will
look
just mean
fantastic.
it is super swanky.
You are fabulous.
Oh my gosh! All of the dwarves will be like, "Oh my god, it's so beautiful."
That is
Yeah.
some fine mithril, boys.
Yeah.
They will be falling at your feet in awe.
They would shave off their grandmother's beard to own it.
Damn.
Wow.
Dwarf women have kids.
Older ones do. Anyway, yeah, so with that, week 4 comes to a close, but before it does... Let us put on... No, that's the wrong set of tracks. I need... yes. One day, as the majority of your party are in, basically in the market square, you hear a commotion. And basically, as you look around, you spot basically a large crowd is gathering on North Street, back down towards the tavern, and there basically seems to be like a lot of guards seem to be sort of trying to clear the way for something that's coming through. What do you guys do?
Want to look?
You go over and take a look.
What this is.
I know.
Okay.
Curiosity.
It killed the cat.
Okay.
I'm not a cat.
As you approach sort of the small guard perimeter, you see that there basically are a series of people with hand carts, coming up the road, but instead of carrying cargo, these people are basically carrying several people who seem to be sort of in. Well, they all have various injuries, and they are basically being brought into town by what you expect to be sort of friends and colleagues, as well as V. You've probably met a couple of people who work as healers, and you notice a couple of them hanging around. And yeah, basically there seems to be a lot of curiosity about what's happened to these people, and the guards seem to sort of be trying to move people out of the way so that they're not like getting in the way, so that these people can come through.
Is my friend anywhere around here?
Give me a perception check.
We should give the poor guy a name.
Yes.
Never mind.
Okay.
He's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, no, he doesn't seem to be here.
Fuck.
Oh man. I mean, I guess, can I ask a guard, like, what's going on?
Do you just talk to a random guard?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just sort of says, please sort of stay out the way. There's been an attack outside the city. We're trying to get these people to receive medical attention.
Hmm.
Can I? What kind of injuries are there? Is it like a human attack? Is it like sword slashes?
Give me a medicine check to identify sort of like the level of injuries that they have.
God, V.
Wow.
Who the fuck knows?
They're bleeding.
It's very difficult to sort of get a look at their injuries from the distance you have to maintain, and many of them are sort of like covered up with blankets, or are surrounded by people sort of trying to administer triage. From what you see, they look like sort of they look like people who've sort of been in a fight. Like some of them have like cuts to the head and torso, and there's one man who looks like he's received like some blunt force trauma to like sort of like the upper torso, in that sort of like they're holding his body like they haven't quite like splintered it up, but they're sort of like in the process of tying up things you expect to be broken bones. But it doesn't look like they were mauled by a monster. It looks more like they were attacked, but by what, you have no idea. It takes a little while, but after this wagon train sort of moves off, they disappear basically off a side street that the guard are sort of like holding everybody out of. And after a little while, sort of the commotion seems to begin to quiet down. And I'd like all of you to give me a perception check. That's a bit better.
Oh man.
Okay, I think all of you noticed this. V and Arya, you noticed this first. Even though sort of the crowd is cleared away, there are still a couple of people standing around what seems to be a young woman who is she's being tended to by somebody that you recognize as a healer, but she seems to just sort of, she's not being like taken anywhere. She's just sort of sitting on the step outside of a shop, and she's got like a blanket over her shoulder, and people are just sort of talking to her. And the rest of you sort of notice that there is like still a small crowd sort of gathered around this woman.
Right, let's go over and take a look. Or I'm going anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go with you.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Let's go. Field trip.
You all approach, and basically, as you approach, you sort of you hear the guy who is you recognise as the healer. He's sort of like, yeah, please just sort of stay back and give her some air. She's had a difficult day.
Can I ask the healer if he knows more of what's happened? And if he'd like to tell me?
Yeah, I'd say he probably knows you, so give me a persuasion check.
Not with advantage?
No, certainly not with advantage, but he probably sort of he takes you to one side, as in sort of like he doesn't want to say it in front of everybody else. But he basically says to you, don't sort of shout it around, but these people were part of a caravan. And it seems like they were attacked, and from what I've heard, it sounds like it was goblinoids.
Sorry, what?
Goblinoids. As in,
Goblin-like.
not goblins, but things like goblins, hobgoblins, bugbears. They are a group of...
Oh.
Okay. Do these sort of things happen often?
He sort of says, no, not really. There have been increased sightings of them recently. The City Watch think they've moved into the old silver mine, but they've never been more than just sort of hanging around and occasionally causing a nuisance. They've never been sort of bold enough to attack anyone.
Were these people... Did anything happen to the goods that were in the caravan, or was it just the people who were attacked?
He sort of shrugs and says, I don't really know. I was called to attend to the city gate when we knew there was going to be casualties incoming. I think they've had things stolen. The lady that I'm looking after seems to be pretty torn up about it. But things can be replaced. It's the people we're obviously more concerned about. So yeah, that's a I think so.
Okay.
Suspicious.
I don't know what's suspicious about it. It's openly an assault.
Yeah, there's not really much suspicious about highway robbery. Literally daylight robbery. That's not really suspicious.
Yes.
That's just a crime.
You're just being illegal.
Says the lawful good. Yeah, presumably you tell your companions about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of,
You relay to your companions what you've learned.
Yeah.
Also, all I'm saying, Rob, presumably the chaotic goods would still view that as very, very bad.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
But to them it is perhaps not quite as clear cut as it is to you.
Anyway.
Do we know where the silver mine is?
Give me a history check, because that would probably be best to represent this.
Well, hold up. That's probably a no.
You know that people that you've talked to in the town sort of they mention the silver mine because sort of a lot of Rorksgate's wealth comes from silver mining, and you know that they have recently. Well, I say recently. Perhaps less than 100 years ago, changed from the old site that they were using, moving to a different, richer vein because the silver was starting to dry up. You don't know exactly where the old mines are. You just know they are out of town and across the hills some distance.
I was thinking if they were really.
And get a handy map marker.
Well, perhaps if you were to investigate further, you might be able to find out. But
Yeah, I was thinking of just heading there if it was close by, but if it's a little further, we might need to, other things first. Information-wise.
From what you gather, it probably isn't more than a couple of hours walk away. Like, you'd have to dedicate a whole day to going there and back. But you could do it feasibly in a day. At least that's what you assume.
Well, I think we should see if we can check it out, because I don't like the idea of people being attacked.
So what's your plan?
I mean, first we gotta find out where it is.
Yep.
Well, if Vondal has been blacksmithing, probably the blacksmiths would know where the silver mine is.
That's true.
Yeah, that
Possibly.
makes sense.
I'll go ask him.
Cool. Yeah, it's probably not too late in the evening. Like, sort of, you finished up your work for the day and left, but you go back and he's still there, sort of tidying some things up. And yeah, you ask him about the silver mine, and yeah, he basically tells you a similar sort of thing to what Kelariis said, but with a little bit more detail. Sort of like, he's like, oh yeah, it's basically if you head out of town, turn west, go west for like maybe 2 or 3 hours, you'll reach like the main entryway to the old mine. He does tell you, however, that the old entrance to the mines was basically collapsed intentionally to sort of because obviously you don't leave open mining sites because stuff goes in them and then it collapses and like bad stuff happens.
Bad GTM.
But yeah, like it was intentionally collapsed, though he does believe that there are still natural ways to get into the mine, purely because of where it is in the natural geography, because obviously it forms in layers. So you have, what are they called? Not like canyons, but like natural splits in the earth that enter into cave formations. And the initial mine is built off that, although the main mine entrance has been since collapsed. And he also mentions that he had heard that there were rumors of goblins and hobgoblins in the mines in recent months, and that he reiterates this. He says they moved into the old mine and sort of been harassing caravans, sort of generally like damaging nearby farms and just generally being a nuisance, and that the guard had set up like a patrolled border around the town to sort of minimize the amount of damage that they were doing. But obviously they can't push the border out any further, because the further they go from the town, the more men they have to have, and they just don't have enough men. But yes, he basically sort of says if you tell him about the people that you saw, and he says, oh yeah, if caravans are being attacked, then they must be acting outside of the perimeter. But yes, you gain a rough idea of where the mine is. What do you do?
Well, I don't think we need anything else, so...
I'm gonna set out on a in your own secret expedition.
Quest.
Yes!
Give me
Okay.
a quest.
Just wondered if you were like maybe going to tell the guard that you were going to go off and do this for them, but like, if you don't want to do that, then you don't have to do that.
Maybe we should probably tell somebody. Maybe.
We don't need their approval, it's fine.
It's true. Fuck the rules.
I mean, it's probably still a good idea to tell them.
Vondal thinks it might be a good idea to inform them. Kelariis and I just sort of go, why?
And if you want to, Vondal, I guess you can.
I mean, Arya, your experience of sort of this sort of thing is being a ranger and working amongst organizations like the Wild Hunt who don't really sort of answer to anyone, they just sort of do stuff.
Yep.
I mean, V's probably sort of like, we can do it, and then tell them later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better to ask for reward than permission. Wait. That's not how that saying goes.
Well done.
Amazing.
Cool. So Vondal, do you go and talk to someone?
Yeah. I guess if everyone's like heading out, like while everyone else just goes, I'd probably just let one of the guards know or something. I don't know.
Well,
Or it'd probably be
right.
or it'd have to be something I'd have to go somewhere higher up.
I mean, you'd have to find out. I will point out that basically, like this is sort of like late afternoon. So if you were to leave now, you would sort of be going out overnight.
Yeah, I mean, we can probably sleep now and go tomorrow.
Yeah. If that's what you want to do, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you do that, Vondal, you've got some time to sort of, you can go and find out who to talk to. With your legal experience, I would say that it probably doesn't take you too long to find sort of the right place when you go to a guard station, and they basically sort of say, well, we can't endorse it, but we also can't stop you. So yeah, you have free reign to hunt these goblinoids if you want. They can't guarantee you a reward. They can't guarantee your safety, but if you want to do it, then go ahead.
We can have an informed companions of this update.
Probably everyone is just like,
Okay, cool, bye.
It's like we were gonna do that anyway.
Yeah.
Cool.
Kick some ass.
Cool. You go to sleep. I would like whoever is holding the race shard to make me a dream check.
Guess
well,
it's my turn. Nope.
but no! Stop!
No.
I can
Oh,
hold
boy.
the race chart too. It's been everybody except me.
It's too magic.
Do it.
That's
Dangerous.
important that it's been everyone, but not you.
Dangerous.
God.
Let me do it.
Do you want to have this argumenting conversation in character?
Yeah, Arya's gonna go, no.
Yes!
No!
Alright, this is both of you being childish.
Look,
Arya's not letting me help.
if you don't look, V, it's fine. I'm fine with taking it. It's not a problem. What I'm not saying is, it doesn't affect me. I just imagine V is pouting at me right now.
Yeah, V is
Yeah.
pouting super hard.
I mean, if you doubt her motivations, there's always insight check.
Bum, bum, bum.
It's true.
Yeah.
Are we gonna actually insight check someone?
I'm gonna inside check you.
Okay.
Shit.
You have advantage.
Oh my god!
Oh,
Oh.
Stir
Doesn't
into
even
your
need it.
soul.
Yep.
look at my eyes.
You stir into her soul, and there is definitely something she's not telling you.
Suspicious.
Why do you want to hold the rave shard so bad?
Look, we all agreed that it'd be a good idea for you to not have it because your magic will just make it more powerful.
I have held it before, and it's not been a problem.
Not overnight, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever been overnight. Except maybe like the first time we ever had it, maybe.
I think possibly before the waking up of Silverbrook.
Yeah.
Give me.
Yeah, I was the only one who didn't have a dream then. I only got knocked out because I tried to channel magic into it.
Yeah, give me Arcana checks.
All of us?
Yeah, anyone who wants to.
Sure,
Ow.
fuck it. Nope, just kidding.
Of course.
Kelariis is convinced that V shouldn't hold it because there's no telling what might happen. Arya, whether or not you want to admit it, you don't think it will have any effect that it wouldn't have on you guys unless she directly targets it with magic.
Oh, look, I'm leaking magic all over the place.
That sounds.
I mean, were she a wild magic sorcerer, it might be a little bit more dangerous. But her magic is her magic is controlled. She does have a mastery over it. So you think unless she does something intentional, it shouldn't make a difference. Whether or not you admit that is another thing.
Do I get the same thing or?
No.
You just don't know.
Just me.
You just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know whether it will have a negative effect or not, but it's one of those things where you just don't know enough to make a safe decision. So you err on the side of caution.
Yeah.
So everyone is against me taking this rave shard.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Fuck!
Like, I know that Helena wants to know what will happen.
I mean, you can insist. You can try and
It's also
convince
just
your
that He wants
companions.
to help. It's always you guys having bad dreams, and it's not fair.
Actually, I don't have bad dreams anymore. But
I mean,
no one knows that.
petition that to your companions in character.
I was gonna say I thought she already was speaking in character. Right? It was
Yeah.
just kind of ruined
Well,
by
no.
Arya,
Oh.
by Luka suddenly being like.
If you are saying that in character, give me a persuasion check.
Luka?
No, Helena.
I was
Oh,
like,
I'm-
what?
You,
Yeah, I was waiting
You're
for
the one who's
you.
trying to persuade us to let you.
you
hold
are
it.
attempting to persuade Vondal
Oh,
and
I see.
Kelariis.
Well, I was wondering if I thought we were still talking about Luka trying to persuade us that she doesn't have magic. Okay.
Oh no.
Oh no, that will come in a
Oh,
minute.
shit.
Oh, Jesus.
Shit.
Okay,
I'm good at things, guys.
Vondal, like, yeah, V is making a very convincing point. She wants to help. Like, what could be the harm? Kelariis, you're not
Has
sure.
flashbacks to Grim looking in the race shard.
Kelariis,
It's not the same.
It isn't that stupid.
Kelariis, although you're dubious about letting V handle the thing, you did agree that you were gonna sort of like let her. You did agree that she needed to be given more opportunities, etc. She needed to not be babysat, and you've experienced the negative effects. It's not going to really do anything more than upset her. look, you're in the room next door anyway. It's as much as you don't like it.
I think Vondal's just gonna like sigh lightly and just say, very well, if you want to help this badly.
We can't stop you. Well,
I think we
to an
definitely
I mean,
extent,
could,
we
but-
can't stop you.
Technically, my strength is higher than yours, but
I could physically
well-
take the race shard from
Shut
you.
up, Kelariis, I can sleep you.
Oh, shit.
Yep, she can just put all of us to
You
sleep.
have
right?
higher strength, but I have
Nope,
tricks.
she can't put me to sleep, bitch.
Yeah, I
It's
can't put
true.
you to sleep. Sure.
She might be able to put me to sleep. There's an
Okay.
I can
if
entangle you.
on the rolls.
Entangle you.
Oh
There you go.
boy.
Sleep me and Kelariis.
I don't have
Entangle
enough
Arya
sleep
and
both
run.
of you. Anyway,
Yeah, that too. Moving
getting
on.
off track.
Yeah, I guess we won't stop you.
Arya, you remain
Arya?
the
I
only
guess.
person who doesn't want to.
I mean, I will reluctantly agree, even though I don't
Yeah.
like it.
Like the 10th time now.
Yeah,
You scowl and hand it over.
give her a look.
Seriously, the amount of times we've managed to make Arya reluctantly agree to something is going up very quickly.
Yeah, it's going up very quickly.
Very quickly.
Alright, good night, guys!
Okay.
Sweet dreams.
Jeez.
So passive aggressive.
Give me a save.
If I fail this save,
Please
everyone's gonna
fail it.
fucking hate me.
No, because remember, we don't know what it'll do, because you
Oh
pass it. Fuck.
shit.
I really want to know what happens when you don't pass it.
If I rolled like a 1, I was
Yeah.
just...
If you rolled a 1, shit would have gone down.
Oh god.
It's a good thing that didn't happen then. You see, we're lucky Kelariis used up the 1.
Sad face.
Yeah, so the night passes and yeah, V, you sleep totally soundly and you really don't get what all the big deal was about. You wake bright and early the next morning.
Alright. I
Cool.
slept very well, guys.
You say a little bit happy with yourself.
Arya's just like gonna roll her eyes.
Vondal's going to nod. You might call it a nod of the bro variety.
Oh my
Wow.
god.
Wow.
I can't believe.
Well, I'm
A
glad you
bro
slept well,
In
then.
this D&D series?
It's more
More
likely than you think.
Well, more likely.
It's even on our bingo card.
Yeah! Strike that one off your bingo card. I've given you 2 so far. I hope you're
Yeah.
happy.
Okay.
What was the first one?
I made a bad pun, remember?
Oh yeah.
Did you do that on camera?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because
Pretty
boring.
sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, bore joke. from
Sorry, I'd blocked it out.
that bad.
Right. So, the next morning, you guys set out on an adventure. Dun, dun, dun.
Adventure.
Adventure.
Adventure time. Oh, that's very lovely. Oh.
Oh, nice. Oh.
Very pretty.
Yes.
Huh.
I can't see shit. Oh no, that is very lovely, actually.
Yes.
You're right. I mean, I can't see any
You
shit
can-
either, so that's fine.
Yeah. As you set off across the hills, you sort of you turn back and you see sort of this shot, and you can see Rocksgate in the distance in the top left-hand corner. Okay.
See if we can find this mine.
We're on a goblin hunt.
We
don't know how to weed them out.
Right, well, the first thing I need is to the ranger. I need you
Yes.
to make me either a nature or survival check to pick up any signs of tracks.
Wow.
Okay, so you head out, and it takes you a little while actually. This music is a tad too loud in my ears. Yeah, it takes you. Actually, it probably takes you like an hour once you get to a point out of town. Like, sort of, you find out where these patrols are sort of going around the town. It's actually not too far away from the town. And you follow the road for a little bit, and eventually you sort of find where, like, possibly where you think this ambush took place. Like, the path is pretty sort of churned up with tracks and footprints, because this road is obviously fairly commonly used. And yeah, as you explore, you do find that there are tracks that lead off. There are distinct signs that some creatures have travelled here recently and sort of laid in wait for people. Basically, there's a small area of like low bushes and hedges and rocks that you basically find traces of where something has sort of hidden out. And after a while, you begin to follow it, and it winds over a couple of hills until you find yourself roughly in the area that you think is where the blacksmith indicated where the old mine works were. At which point, I would like all of you to basically give me perception checks.
Ow.
It's pretty awful.
Yep.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. As you basically stand on the top of a small rocky outcropping on the side of this hill and look down. Kelariis, Vondal, and Arya, you spot where this old mine entrance clearly once was, and it has been closed up for a long time. It's almost like the supported archway that was sort of built into the rock has disappeared behind bushes and growth, to the point where it's actually quite hard to spot out from a distance. But you do notice, and as you're looking around, in fact, Kelariis, you spot something in the distance and you point, and you can see actually that you can see what the blacksmith meant by a natural entrance to the mine, where you can basically see like a cleft in the top of the rock that would, you suspect, probably lead down into the mine and is large enough for at least one or two people to squeeze through, like at any one time. You would require like a rope or something to climb down into it, but you reckon that would be a way to get into it and investigate.
A rope, you say? It's not like we have a lot of that.
50 feet of hempen rope. Times 4.
I don't. I've only got 25 feet.
Oh shit.
Well, shit.
That's-
What the fuck, Vondal?
That's still 100.
My star pack didn't come with 50 feet of hempen rope. Okay.
That's still 175 feet.
Yeah.
Not
Still
enough.
more than enough.
We need 200.
Oh fuck!
Oh, we were so close.
Oh no! We have to go back to town and buy some rope. Since we've got so much money, let's be really indulgent and buy a silk rope.
Damn.
Oh boy.
I mean, we
Or
can
an escape
definitely
rope.
afford it.
The last 25 feet,
Ew.
really indulgent. Also, if we could actually have an escape rope, that'd be great.
That would be amazing. Anyway,
Teleport out
Anyway.
the dungeon.
Seems like that's the way in.
let us descend.
Let's go.
Okay. It's not going to be quite as easy as that,
Yeah, gotta secure it.
as I am
It never is.
going to need you to make me some checks.
Boy.
It's gonna be fucking great.
Also, guys, I have a whopping 11 AC for this.
Man.
Wait, what?
Oh god, you don't have your
Oh yes, yeah. You have
I
You have 11
scrapped my
armor.
armor so that I
Oh,
can make
no.
mithril armor.
Vondal, just
I'm gonna punch you in your dick.
Just remember, I have a whopping 11 AC.
Before-
with a -1 dex and
I can't believe Vondal is shirtless.
shirtless.
Before we get into any situation that might potentially involve combat, Vondal, seeing as you just rested, do you want to think about maybe reorganizing some of your spells? Because I believe you have some spells that might be useful in situations where you aren't actually wearing any armor.
Yeah. Let's have a look.
Well, Kelariis, I hope you feel like tanking today.
I got this.
So
Maybe.
You have freedom now.
first
I do have
things
freedom.
first,
I'm excited about freedom.
Kelariis.
Yes.
I think you have some things that might be useful here. Potentially some climbing gear. Is that something you have in your backpack?
Yeah.
I think somebody in your party has things that would be useful for climbing.
Let me check. Oh, in the
Uh,
Explorer's pack, I might have something. You're right. Hold on. Let me.
I can't remember if we listed everything that was in your Explorer's pack.
That's definitely not in that thing. I think I know
No.
that one of the packs has something. I don't know if it's an Explorer's pack. No.
Do you want
I
to
don't
find
think
that
so,
for me
'cause I
really
think
quick?
We had the Explorers.
It may have been Grim that had it.
Oh, yep, I've got shit all for climbing.
Yes.
Never mind
So
then.
okay. I guess you are just going to have to improvise.
I have a crowbar and a hammer that I think Grim left behind.
Yeah.
Don't think either of those things are useful.
Okay, so somebody's going to have to tie off a rope somewhere, and then you're going to have to sort of climb down.
Guys, I'll keep watch and get Featherfall ready.
Okay.
That's probably a good idea.
Thanks. Yeah, how far down does it look like? Just out of curiosity. Like, how much rope do we actually need to tie together for this first?
That is a
Or
good
do we?
question. To descend into this, it is a decent way. It is. It is probably about. It is probably actually approaching 60 feet down. It is quite a long way down. Like there is no way you can just jump down it and be all right.
That's what you think.
You're welcome to try.
I'd like to call back to the post that I linked earlier. Please don't.
I can make my own down position. Jumps down the hole.
Okay, so if somebody wants to tie off a rope, who are you going to get to do that?
I think
Who
Arya's
has the
probably.
best?
Arya's
What?
probably good at.
I think
timing.
Arya's probably the best one to tie a rope.
Okay.
The best decks.
I have the best decks.
Okay. Do you want
I
to
believe in you.
be a boy?
Don't fuck this up.
Be a Boy Scout and GM roll me 1d20.
How do I GM roll?
You type
Slash
slash GM roll and then space, then 1d20.
This is probably not gonna work. Yep.
Hold on.
You type GM roll in one word.
I think I spelled. Hold on. I think I spelled the thing wrong.
Like that, without the full stop.
I did it.
Hey,
Oh, fuck me.
okay. Shush, you don't know what the result is.
I mean, it's so good, guys.
Okay,
Great.
you tie off a rope. I would like everyone to make me athletics checks as you climb down this rope.
Oh hell yeah!
Hey, I'm staying up here to get Featherfall ready.
Okay, so you have your hands free. Okay.
For fuck's sake!
Yo!
Can we talk about how I rolled a 4? Like an actual 4.
Yeah.
Without meaning to sound rude, how much do all of you weigh?
Excuse you.
That's a good question.
You never asked
Ferrous,
a lady.
I
for
weigh
weight.
a whopping 162 pounds.
Okay.
But luckily, I'm not wearing armor.
You're not
so
wearing
that's what
armor,
added
so
to it.
that helps.
I was gonna say, do we have to include
And
the weight?
are you going one at a time?
I would
yes.
assume we're going one at a time.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever decided how much Arya weighs.
I had
In
250 written down.
in that case, would you like to roll for your? Because what is your height?
5'5".
Because you are 5'5". Let me open
There you
the
go, guys. This is a small insight into creating a character.
Blair's handbook.
Roll your weight.
Roll your
Roll
weight.
your
I end up being like 185 pounds. Huge.
It's all in that ass.
It's all in that
yeah.
ass.
It's all in the bootay.
That boutte that was eloquently admired in our first dungeon.
Some
While
may
also
call
climbing
it
down a
ghetto.
rope.
Oh yeah, whoever climbs down before Arya gets a view of that ass. So
Yeah, also,
That's
all
a
I'm
good
saying.
thing.
Well,
why does
if
everyone
anyone
else-
does, and you don't go first to prevent that.
Why is it now that every time there's been like us climbing down a rope, there's always been conversation about Arya's ass?
because it happened the first
Because
time, and now it's just like a thing.
It's just there. You just
Yeah.
can't not.
Like you look up and it's like, oh my god, that's a great ass.
Isn't it pretty dark down there?
It's just god rays just
I mean,
shining
I
down
have
and
dark
illuminating.
vision.
Anyway,
I was gonna say as well. I have dark vision, so even if it is dark,
uh,
still see a grey blob that is that ass.
That ass.
That grey ass.
Should be
Can-
our bingo.
can you roll me 1d4, Arya?
To you or
Just
public?
in general.
Anyway, just like shout if you guys fall, okay?
I make me wanna shout, put my hands up and shout.
Shout.
Do you guys know that song? No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You weigh 117 pounds.
Okay. It's all muscle. And ass. The ass is the 17 pounds.
A toned ass.
And ego.
A 17-pound ass.
That'd be so
No.
large, God.
That sounds horrid.
Oh, you don't.
Is that the same as a $50 ass? I don't know.
Oh, Rob.
Wow. Actually, no, that'd be more like a $20 ass.
Wow. Anyway. So, you climb down. Who's going first?
I guess I will, so everyone gets
Okay.
to be robbed of the view.
You slide down.
Whee.
Who's next?
Oh. It'd be more dramatic than that.
Wow.
I'm going last.
Yeah.
Oh,
I guess I
boy.
can go next then.
Okay, Vondal. You slide down.
Cool.
Kelariis.
Oh, you step
Alright.
back.
This is when it's gonna fuck up.
Okay.
What goes wrong?
You begin to slide down the rope.
Oh, Jesus.
As you get about halfway, you feel a slight give in the rope. What do? You have 6 seconds.
I mean, I don't brace myself, I guess.
You just brace yourself?
Well, because I
I'm here.
Rope's not doing so great.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening. Bad rope things.
Give me dexterity saving throws, both of you. Kelariis and V.
V?
Yes.
Why? I'm not even on the rope!
Because I'm checking your reaction speed.
Oh, okay. So dex save.
Yeah.
Save. Oh boy.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Oh, sweet.
Okay. V, you notice that Kelariis, basically the rope gives and Kelariis starts to drop.
Okay, I'm gonna cast Featherfall.
Okay. You featherfall. Kelariis, nothing happens as you drift slowly to the ground. Unfortunately, the rope comes with you.
Shit.
Does V have another rope?
I do have rope.
There you go.
Okay.
I guess I'm
Thanks,
tying my
Jamie.
own knots, lol.
GM, roll me a knot. Okay.
Okay.
you're not terribly experienced with tying knots, but you think you've got it.
Yeah.
You sort of go up to the edge, test the rope, and start to descend.
Okay.
How much do you weigh?
Hold on. I will. Oh, actually, it might not be on this one. Okay, I have to open my other. Character sheet. 'Cause I think it might be on this one. Where the fuck is this? Oh shit! It says it in kilograms.
That's okay. I can think I can work that backwards.
It's 47. I'm really tiny.
Yeah, that's probably not heavy enough. Oh yeah, you need to make me an athletics check first. That's why I can't work it out. You haven't made an athletics check yet.
Oh.
Oh.
Fantastic, because my athletics is great.
Yep. Yeah, you scamper your way down without incident.
Holy shit, that's impressive considering I rolled a 1 on that knot.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
It is incredibly fortunate that you don't actually weigh enough for a 17 to be a fail, even with a 1 for your rope strength.
Jesus.
I rolled a 1 and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, just good luck climbing back up again. Let's say that.
Oh god.
Shit. You don't know shit, guys. That rope is so sturdy.
Yeah. Cool. And yeah, with that, you actually realise that you are now basically in a quite dark cave.
Lantern.
Wait, guys! I have a glowing sword now.
Oh yeah.
Glowing sword.
Yeah, holy sword, go on.
So excited.
Freedom!
It doesn't have to be
Yeah,
that
I
loud.
probably don't.
Give us
Probably
your
not
best
yell
freedom.
this time because
Okay.
just quietly like.
What
You-
if Clark says freedom by accident? Does it instantly start glowing?
No, because she has to expend a free action to do it. So she has to want it to happen. It's like if you were to say the words of a spell with a verbal component, you wouldn't automatically cast that spell. You'd have to will the spell to be cast.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of
So yeah, I guess a bard couldn't like accidentally say one of his Tasha's hideous laughter jokes. Just everyone around them starts laughing and can't.
Yeah, no. The intention there has to be intent for it to be cast. It's not like the keyword of, for example, your broom, which if you were to say it, your broom would spring up even if the intention wasn't there. But no, this because it requires an action, it is a will thing. Kelariis has to want it to happen, and it obviously she can't use it if she's silenced because it requires a verbal. It's an activation with a verbal component rather than a word-based trigger. Let's say it that way. So, yes, Kelariis says, "Freedom." The blade glows, and you can begin to see the surrounding area. And with that, we will take a short break.